Okay, good morning once again. Today we're going to discuss how to create a file in R Studio. Now remember that R Studio is just an IDE, Integrated Development Environment, and the main software is R. R Studio will not work unless R is installed. Just like a dashboard will not work without the engine. Okay, the engine can run without the dashboard, but the dashboard will not be able to run without the engine. So the first thing that we'd like to see is, let's first get what's the default working directory that you have. Working directory is very important because we'd like to know what is the default directory by which R saves any file or your R file in your computer. So the code for that is get wd. Okay, so small get wd. All right. So kindly type this. Just use the console get wd, and then let's press Control Enter. Okay. So in my case, my working directory, my default working directory is in my drive C, users, then admin, then desktop, then I have a folder here and another folder here. Okay, you'll get a different working directory. Okay, now if you want to reset this and put it in another location, then you can use the function setwd. Okay, then you will identify here the location, the file location where you want your working directory to be under. Okay, in our case, what we're going to do is we're going to deliberately create projects and then put there our working, and when we create a project, it becomes automatically your working directory. So first, we'd like to discuss how do we create our projects. Now, what's the purpose of creating our projects? So let me write that R projects. Okay. Our projects are very important in order to manage your files. So most probably we'll have several topics. Of course, we'll have several topics: regression, logistic regression, structural equation modeling, and then we'll have moderation mediation, then we'll have time series, then we'll have Garch, Arch, etc. So different topics. Now we would like to arrange our files, our data files accordingly, according to the topic that we're doing. So our first topic today, for example, is an introduction to R and the data and data structures. So perhaps we'd like to create a folder for this specific topic. So what do you do in order to generate a folder where all the similar topics are located? You do that by creating an R project. So let's illustrate now. Okay, let me first delete, because I already created this. So let me just delete this. Okay, I'll redo this. Delete. Okay, I can't delete it because it's open. So I'll first close this. Okay, now I'm going to delete this. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to open R Studio. Okay. So let's first create our first R project. Okay, how do we create a project in R? And what's the advantage of creating projects in R? As I mentioned a while ago, the advantage of creating a project in R is that you can save all your files there, the specific R file that you're working on, the specific RMD file, the data file that you're working on. Also, your R file automatically gets saved to that R project, especially if there's a power outage or your computer conks out. So automatically you have the saved either RMD or R script file in your R project. So how do we do that? So let's create our first project. So we go here to File, okay, File, and then you notice here you can create a new file. For a new file, you have R script, you have R Markdown, etc. So these are the different types of files that you can create in RStudio. But we're not going to create a new file. Rather, we're going to create a new project. So let's click this. Okay. So we now have this. So what do we want? Do we want a new directory? Okay. Do we want to create our project in a new directory or in an existing directory or in a version control? For our purposes, we'd like to create a new directory. Okay. If I click this, right, so there's this option. Are you creating a new project, an R package, a Shiny application, Warto package, project, etc.? So we're creating a new project. Okay, so we click this, and then let's give the new project a name. Okay, I'm just going to call it FINTSAR K31 Term 3 AY 2022. Okay, you may use a different name. Okay, for me, I'm using this because I'd like to distinguish it from the other sections. In your case, you can just name it R projects. Okay. Okay. For me, I'm going to call it this subject. For what purpose? Because I have other subjects in other sections. So I just like to distinguish those two. Okay. So and then I'll have to define. You have to define where you want this R project to be stored. So I'll browse, okay, and I'm going to put it in the desktop. Okay, I'll put it in the, wait, so desktop, it's already clicked here, desktop. Okay, I want to create this R project in desktop, and then I'll press yes. Okay, so there, desktop. Okay, folder in the desktop, then open. So you can now see the directory name is FINTSAR K31 T3 AY 2022-2023. And then where is this directory? Where can you find this R project? I'm putting it in my desktop. And then let's just open in a new session, click this, and then create project. Okay, now you can see that the file is now, this is now FINTSAR K31 T3 AY 2022 to 2023. Okay, and we have here the script window, the environment window, the console window. And if you notice here in the files, plots, packages, okay, you have this under files, you now have this, okay, the R project that we created. Okay, so let me pause for a while and please tell me if you got the same thing. The R project that we created is now reflected here under files. Kindly chat, please, class, if you are able to follow along. Okay, good. Thank you for your feedback. All right. Okay, great. Okay, now this will become important later on as we go along. Okay, kindly check now where you saved your R project. I saved it in my desktop, and here I named it FINTSAR. Okay, so this is my desktop. I named it FINTSAR. So where is that? Wait. desktop. Here. It's now here. No? I created this folder, this project, FINTSAR K31 T3. If I open this, I can see here now the R project file. It's here. Okay, do you see now the FINTSAR K31 R project file? Where you created your project? Okay, good. All right, so always use this, class. Always use this method. Okay, I hope everybody's following along. Now, under this R project, FINTSAR K31, that's my folder, I'm going to create here more projects. So for the different topics. So what I did was I had one mother R project, which is FINTSAR K31. And if I open this, if I click this, there will be other folders here for the different topics that we're going to discuss. So let's do that. Let's do that this time. Okay. Let me close this. So this is now the project that we created. I'm going to create another project. So here, click. So file, and then new project. I'm going to create another new project, new directory, new project, and I'll call it maybe one intro to R data and data structures -1 because I'm sure we will not be able to complete this. Now I'm going to put it in what subdirectory. I'm going to browse and put it in the folder that I created for FINTSAR. Okay, so under the desktop here. So where's that FINTSAR here? See? Click this. Okay. Open. Now, this folder now, this new R project, Introduction to R, Data and Data Structures, will be found inside this folder, FINTSAR K31. Okay, so let me again open in a new session and then create project. All right, so it opened this new project, Introduction to R, Data and Data Structures. Now, if you take a look at the other R project, this one, the FINTSAR, you'll notice now that it now has a new folder. It has a new subdirectory, Intro to R, okay, which is what I want because I want to have the mother folder, the FINTSAR, and then under it will be other several folders containing the lessons that we're going to take. Okay, so I have one main folder for one main project for FINTSAR K31. Under that, I have several topics. And one of the topics here is Intro to R, Data and Data Structures. Now let me see because I hope it's still here because I deleted. Desktop. Let me see. Okay, let me pause recording first. Let me find that. Okay, so what we're doing now is I shared with you this file, RMD files, data, RMD file, and data. No, not that one. And data structures, part 1. Okay. And could you please save a copy of that in the project that we created just now? So we created this project. The project is FINTSAR. Okay. And we created this subdirectory of FINTSAR, the introduction to R, number 1, and save it there. Okay. All right. So please chat yes if you were able to do that before I continue. Okay. Please feel free to ask any questions. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. We'll be here for the next 3 months. So I would appreciate questions from your end. Was it uploaded in Canvas? No, Inigo. Hindi ko siya in-upload. Dito sa chat box ko in-upload. Upload ko ulit ha. Okay. Okay, so here it's in the chat box. Thank you, Celine, for sharing it. All right, does everyone have a copy of that, please? Ruby, hindi mo makita? Which one?
Sir, you sent it to me lang po.
Sorry.
You could change it, everyone.
Okay, sige. Mali. Na to somebody lang pala. Okay, thank you. All right. There, sent to everyone. Okay, I hope everybody gets it. Were you able to get it, Inigo? Rui?
Yes, sir. We saw it.
Okay, thank you. All right, then download that file and then copy it to the introduction to our project that we created. So you should be seeing this. So you have the R project and then the RMD file that I shared with you. Okay. And then if you go back to R, you now see that the R file that we that you opened for introduction to R and data structures, you can now see that you have now an RMD file here under your files. So you have your R project and you have your RMD file, the one that I shared with you. So every time you add a data set, it will automatically load a data set in the R project, that specific R project. It will be saved automatically. It will be recorded here. Okay, may I have a show of hands if you see the same thing? If you see that in your files, you now have your R project and your RMD file, the one that I shared with you. Could you please chat if you got it? Okay, thank you. All right, great. Okay, great. Now, once you have loaded it in the R project, you can now open this. So let's open this. Click this, and then it will now open the RMD file. Okay, once again, may I have your confirmation, please? If you were able to open the RMD file. RMD file means R Markdown file. Okay, great. Okay, the others, please. Okay, good. All right. So remember that we have 4 panes, and this is the script pane. And if you toggle along this on the upper right, you'll find an outline here. If I click this, you have the outline. So this is the outline of this RMD file. Now let's quickly take a look first at what this is. So for example, if I click this introduction to R, you notice that it goes here to this specific section. If I click anywhere here, it will go to that specific section. So this is just like a table of contents. So it's very helpful. That's why when you're creating an R file, it's good to use, to use the hashtag will tell you the this is just like the outline of your RMD file. One hashtag means it's the main topic. Okay, notice that this one, the others here are indented. If I click this data classes, data structures, if I click this, so it goes here. It's another one hashtag. So that's the main heading. If I go here, data classes, notice that this is indented. Data classes is indented. If I click this, you notice that there are two. This has two hashtags, okay? Which means this is a sub classification of the first one. If I type another one here just for practice, 1, 2, 3, example, just to see what happens. All right, take note now that its indentation is now below data classes. Okay, because number 3 here, the 3 hashtags here, refers to a subclassification of the number 2. Now, 2 hashtags. And the number 2 hashtags here pertains to a subclassification of 1 hashtag here. Okay, so you can see the hierarchy. 1 hashtag, that's the main outline, main heading. 2 hashtags means it's a subclassification of the main heading. And then 3 hashtags means it's a subclassification, subheading of the two hashtags that precede it. All right? You can go on up to 6. If I type, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, say example 2. Okay, you now can see here that example 2 is under example 1. Okay? All right, so use this judiciously because it can help you navigate through your R Markdown file, especially if you have a very, very long file. So you can see here, you can guess that this has 1 hashtag. This is a main heading, structure type number 1. And under it are, let's say, several subheadings. If I click this one, vector, it goes here. Okay. All right, so enough with that. Let me just close this and then Control Z. I'm just going to delete that one. Okay, any questions so far, class? As far as the outlining is concerned. Once again, may I have your feedback if you understand so far the outline? So the hashtag there, class, is not just any ornamental thing. It's used for outlining. So make good use of that. You can create up to 6 hashtags, 6 up to 5, 5th level of sub-classification. Clear so far? Kindly chat, please. Okay, great. Thank you so much for your feedback. Okay, let's continue now. So let me just minimize this outline. Okay, so we mentioned last time that this is called the YAML. And a lot of things can be done with this YAML. When we discuss printing your file, we'll discuss this more. So let's just open a new RMD file. You can click this one, File, okay, New File, and then you have this choice, RMD file, R Markdown file. Or you can go here directly, here, R Markdown file. Okay, so if I click this, R Markdown, it will ask you what title? I'll just put trial 1 here, and the author, my name, and then the date, and then you're asked what default output format do you want? Is it an HTML file, PDF file, Word file? Now, in your assignments, in your exams, you have to create an HTML file, and also you can create a PDF file or a Word file. But our preference is definitely HTML file plus either a PDF file or a Word file. Okay, let me just put it in HTML default output. Now, you can also create, aside from a document, you can create a presentation. Okay, which means that you can create a quote-unquote PowerPoint presentation using R Markdown. And it has its advantages and disadvantages, of course. One disadvantage is that the animation or there are more animations or design ideas, of course, in PowerPoint. Its main advantage is that you can link this to the R Markdown itself. So whatever you show here in R Markdown will automatically be reflected in your presentation. So no need for you to copy paste let's say the discussion let's say you're using R Markdown. What you have to do if you're going to use PowerPoint is copy paste the main points and then copy paste also the plots or the graphs or the outputs. Here, you need not copy paste it. Yeah. So those content that you want shown in your presentation will be shown. And then if the data changes and if the output changes, automatically your presentation also changes. So it's linked to your R Markdown. So that's the advantage of that. Okay. Shiny is a tool for creating websites. Okay, so you can create a shiny document, which means that it will be hosted in the internet using R. So this is pretty powerful also. So you'll see, for example, some writers who use R, in particular a package in R like Bookdown, and then they post this to the internet. Okay, so you can use Shiny already so that it gets loaded to the internet. And of course, you can use from template. If you click this, there are several. We will have differences kasi may linode na ako dun sa template. No? In your case, you might not have that. Okay, so these are some of the options. I'm sure you have Flex Dashboard. Do you have Flex Dashboard, class? Kindly chat yes, please. In the template. No ba? No? Okay. Sige. Okay. Dinoload pa kasi yan as a package. So anyway, that's not our concern now. So Flex Dashboard is also used for creating dashboards in R. Okay, I am not sure if we will have the time to discuss this. This is more a topic that I discuss in FINTSAR. Okay, so let's go back to document. Okay, I'll just call it trial 1. Okay, if I click it, you now have this new document in RMD file, and then you have here your YAML. It gives us the title of the document that I typed, and then the author, since this is in my machine, and then the date, and then an output HTML. So basic. No? You can work around with this. This is a totally different study in itself. No? Some students of mine before really created a very beautiful outputs, no? just by adjusting or working on the YAML. Ito example lang din to, konti lang naman binago ko dito. output HTML document, table of contents, true. No? TOC flat, true. Okay, if you take a look at this, okay, when we print this, okay, so this is the default, no? A default. So if I knit this or if I render this, okay, kasi di ba sabi natin ang output niya HTML. So if you go here, dito sa may knit, no? Click this, okay, knit to HTML. Let's see what happens. Let's just experiment, especially for those of you, and many of you have not used R before. So you can knit it to HTML, knit it to PDF, knit it to Word. Okay, ibig sabihin nun, ipiprint nito as an HTML file, a PDF file, or a Word file. So, sige, ang default natin kasi knit to HTML, and then kasi dito nakalagay, di ba? Output HTML document. So let me knit this to HTML. Okay, and it will ask us, saan ko isi-save? So, isi-save ko na lang dito, trial1. I'm going to call it trial1 underscore HTML. Okay? Trial1 underscore HTML, save ko siya. Pag nag-save na siya, tingnan nyo dito sa console, magre-render na yan. It will work on your R script, and then it will generate now an HTML file. Okay, so ito na yung print out ng HTML file natin. Ang title, trial1, my name and my date. Tapos ito yung content class. Ito yung content ng RMD file na ninit natin, which is this one. Diba? Ito yun. Alright? However, if I modify this a bit, no? Ito, idadagdag ko siya. No? Ito, Control-C. So let me copy this and then put it here. Control-V. Tapos ininit ko ulit. Knit. Okay, isa nagkamali. Line 5. Line 5. May mali daw ako sa line 5. Okay, may see? Error in, ito, class, no? Error in YAML. Ito yung YAML, no? Yet another markup language. Scanner mapping values are and not allowed in this context at line 5. Column 7. Okay, nagkakaproblema ako sa, wait ha? Minsan sa spacing lang. Okay. Alright, so let me, hanapin ko muna kung saan ako nagkamali. No? Line 5, line 7. Sometimes, ang mali lang yung ano, yung alignment lang. No? Pero ito hindi naman yata. Okay, but what happens here if we're able to decipher kung saan tayo nagkamali, tapos na-print natin to, ang mangyayari dyan is that may table of contents. Kasi kanina, walang table of contents, di ba? Asan yung output natin kanina? Where's the output a while ago? Or this one? Okay, di ba wala siyang table of contents? Di ba? Yung unang ninit natin. Okay, but if we modified it in such a way that sinama natin yung table of contents, ito, which unfortunately is not working now, something's wrong with the code, sabi yun. Okay, mapping values are not allowed in this context at line 5, column 7. Line 5, column 7. Okay, so sige, let me not decipher, not see, kasi in the interest of time, hindi ko na muna hanapin kung bakit ako nagkamali dito. Okay, but I wanted to point out to you, class, that this in itself has a lot of you can do a lot of things about your documents. Tinala natin let's see. Working with YAML in R. Working with YAML in R, maraming tutorials about that. An overview, methods to convert R data to YAML and back. Okay. R package for converting objects to and from YAML. Right. Tools for teaching YAML. Okay, so I'll leave you guys to look at what YAML can do. Introducing YAML. All right, so a lot of things, which means that we can do lots of things about the printing of our data in a way that we want, just by working with this. Okay, so for now, let me, I just wanted to illustrate to you the use of YAML and then the use of knitting or rendering. So when we knitted the document a while ago, it resulted to this. Yan. Ito na yung printout niyan. Ito na yung kakailanganin ko, class, sa mga printout nyo. So you're going to submit not only the RMD file, but also the HTML file. Now take a look at our project. Asan yung our project natin? Okay. So let me go to desktop. FINTSAR, this one. And then this is our project. What do you notice? Okay. Nagkaroon ng additional 2 files, no? Okay. You have an RMD file, automatic siya. Hindi natin sinave to, di ba? Yung create ko ngayon, di ba nag-create ako ng panibagong RMD file? Okay. And I called it trial_HTML. Automatic sinave niya. So this spares us the problem of, let's say you were working on a file, RMD file, tapos biglang nag-brown out, tapos nawala yung file mo. You have done, let's say, 500 lines of codes, 1,000 lines of code. Eh, hindi ka gumamit ng project. You just open an R file, tapos you did not work on a particular project. Pag nawala yung file na yun that you're working on, hindi mo na marirecover siya. But if you created an R project and you were working in that R project folder, then automatically, tingnan nyo to, di ba, yung trial1 HTML, hindi ko naman sinave to eh. Pero bakit andi dito? And also yung output, yung trial HTML, andi dito na yan. Tingnan nyo. If I open this, diba, mag-open yan sa web, ito yun, no? It's an HTML file. Right? So that's the advantage of using R projects kasi may safety feature yan. You open a new R script, new R Markdown file, automatically yan. Pag nag-close si R, for whatever reason, ando dun siya. Diba? Diba? Hindi ko pa sinasave to. No? I haven't file, save as. Hindi pa ako nagagano na code. Diba? Pero automatically, ando dun na siya. Even if I close this, itong trial 1, if I close this, no? Okay, let's say, what if kasi dito sabi, has unsaved changes. Okay? What if I don't save the changes? Don't save. Now, let me go back to our folder. Is it still there? Andun pa rin siya, no? Diba? Andun pa rin yung folder na yun. Kahit hindi ko siya sinave, automatically, sinave ni R dun sa R project natin. And so with the HTML output. Okay, pause again for a while. Class, may I have your feedback kung okay tayo so far dun sa use ng YAML, no? Okay, you can output here, of course, a PDF document, a Word document. Any questions? Paki-chat naman please kung clear. Okay, good. Thank you for your feedback. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's go back to our lesson. Okay, so I leave to you, class, okay, a more in-depth study of the YAML. You can create, maybe each lesson I'm going to give you examples. We'll modify the YAML a bit so that you have a feel of how to make use of this in order to present good reports or good outputs. Okay. So how about this one? What does this do? So this is the first code chunk. Remember, this is called a code chunk. In an R Markdown, all the codes has to be placed in a code chunk. So this is a code chunk. And how do we know it's a code chunk? Number one, take a look at the shading. It's quite different from the other parts of your R script. Okay, secondly, you notice that there are 3 backticks here and 3 backticks here. So how do you open an R code chunk? Okay, one way is to type that backticks and then a parenthesis, then R, then close parenthesis. And then you have now here the other 3 to close backticks to close your code chunk. Okay, if you recall, ano yung shortcut nito? Sa Windows, Control Alt I, Control Alt I for Windows, no? Control plus Alt plus I. Okay, you should memorize that, class, because we're going to make use of this, the code chunk, because we're going to use R Markdown. So we will have definitely to create code chunks. For Mac, what's the function? Command plus Option plus I. Am I right? Mac users, could you kindly confirm? Command plus Option plus I. Is that correct? You see there's a, yes, thank you. Okay. Thank you for that feedback. So this is the shortcut key. Again, I can use okay, so by the way, a reminder, when you're using your R Markdown, it's best to have an outline. For example, here, introduction to R and R Studio, example only. So if I click the outline, you notice now that it appears now here as the main heading kasi isa yung hashtag. Okay, so of course, when you're doing a particular work, you already have a knowledge of what are the main topics or main headings. So you can start with that already. Say you have 5 main topics, then you can already write 1 hashtag and then the different main topics. So you'll have 5 here, and then just insert your specific contents per main topic. Okay, I'm sure you understand that. All right, so going back here. Okay, now notice this one. There's this word here, set up. So what does this mean? After R, you have set up. If you go here, if you click this one, so this is also the outline. You have the first main topic, and then second main topic, and then you have your chunk 1. Okay, where's your chunk 1? This is my chunk 1. Take note that it doesn't have any name. Okay, it just wrote chunk 1. Why? Because I didn't put any name here. I could have given this a name, for example, say name 1, example lang. Okay, and if I go here, or I take note, chunk 1, it has a name 1. And why is this very important? Because if you're working on a file that's quite long, kunyari maraming rows na, tapos gusto mong hanapin yung a particular code chunk. So if you don't give it a name, katulad nito, my chunk 3, my chunk 4, diba walang mga pangalan, a chunk 5. So this is not a good way to write your code chunks, no? Chunk 6, chunk 7, etc. Kasi hindi natin alam kung ano yung mga yan. It's best to put an index name, intuitive enough for you to understand. Yan, ito meron na, name 1. So itong code chunk na to, ang pangalan niya name 1. And then when I go here, yan, may pangalan siya, no? Set up. Okay, set up, yung pangalan ng code chunk na to. That's why if I click the index here, Okay, yan. Chunk 2 setup. Okay, which is the name that was given. And then meron ditong include is equal to false. Okay, include is equal to false. Ano ginagawa nito? Include is equal to false. If I go back to the output here, if I once again access this, okay, what do you notice? Include is equal to false. Hindi sinama sa output yung code chunk na yon, di ba? Notice it's not here. Unlike this one, this is also a code chunk summary cars. Kasama siya dun sa printed version. Dito, di ba? Include is equal to false. Hindi siya kasama. Okay? If, for example, if I remove this, include is equal to false. Let's see what happens. So this is, okay. All right, then I render this again. Okay. Clear ko muna to ha. Clear. Okay, then init ko ulit. Init directory sa current working directory, no? Ininit ko siya sa current working directory dito sa file natin. Okay. Let's wait. And let me check. Siya pa lang, no? Okay, nag-fail siya mag-knit. Bakit may TOC dito? Kasi dito, no? Eh, may TOC kasi sa dito, no? Okay, so let me do that. Knit to TOC. Okay, may mali, no? May mali kasi yung TOC ko dito, eh. Okay, anyway, I just wanted to show you the difference between yung kanina, diba? Control Z. Okay, include is equal to false. When you put this as a parameter dito sa YAML natin, take note na pag nag-print siya, okay, hindi sinama, no? Hindi sinama yung code chunk na yon. This one. Hindi sinama yung setup kasi nakalagay dito include is equal to false. So that will not be part of the knitted file. Hindi siya ipiprint. No? Okay, so may notes ako dito. Our Markdown combines Markdown. Now, saan ba nanggaling yung Markdown? It's a language of writing kasi text. No? Okay, so si R, ginamit niya yung concept ni Markdown, okay, and adapted it for R. Kaya meron tayong R Markdown. Okay, when we now compile R, the code components can be evaluated so that both the code and its output can be included in the final document. Okay, so this sets the difference between your R script, okay, di ba pag nag-open tayo dito, R script, or Control-Shift-N, or R notebook, or R Markdown, I'm sorry. Kasi pag R Markdown ang ginamit natin, we can create code chunks. Tapos ang sabi nga dito, no, after we compile the R, or in this case, knit R, the code components can be evaluated so that both the code, yan, yung code lalabas, unless ilagay nyo include is equal to false, and its output can be included in the final document. Okay, so this makes it really a very powerful tool, especially kunyari kung gumagawa kayo ng paper, tapos ando dun yung code, tapos yung result niya, kunyari regression output, ando dun na mismo sa document sa RMD. So when you print this, automatically yung result lalabas na. Okay, and if you change, of course, the code, iba yung lalabas na ano, kasi yung output is, of course, dependent on The output is dependent on the code. No? All right, so I won't discuss any more of those other things there. Please take some time to review or just to read through yung pandoc, kung ano ba yan, okay? SWeave, and this is also important for us, yung LaTeX, this one. As we go along, class, we're going to learn the power of LaTeX. Okay, so our first discussion will be more on data classes and data structures. Okay, so as I said, we will not be able to really discuss everything about the YAML in one sitting. So I'm suggesting that you read on about it, okay, so that you can your output you can generate an output in the way you'd like the printing to be generated. Okay, so ito class, ito hindi maganda to, no? So this is a code chunk. Yan, backticks, then R, and then backticks. But this is not advisable kasi wala siyang pangalan. So let's do that, no? Data classes. Yan. Kanina, code chunk number 3 lang yata yan. Ngayon, if you take a look at the index of the code chunks, asan na index natin ito? It will now have a name, di ba? Ayan, chunk 3 data classes. Okay, let me pause for a while and see if you're still able to follow along. Baka masyado ako mabilis. Kamusta class? Okay lang ba so far? Feedback please. Okay, thank you Nicole. Marami na. Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone. I hope you're following along. I'm trying to be very deliberate as much as possible with this one. Medyo binabagalan ko lang. Okay, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions. Okay, so we have this code chunk now, data classes. So dalawa yung hashtag niya, ibig sabihin nun, if you take a look at the outline, si data classes ito, no? Under hashtag number 1, under main heading, data classes and data structures. So si data classes, dalawang hashtag under siya ng number now 1, no? Okay. So ano ba yung mga data classes na ginagamit sa R? Marami, no? And these are some of them. May numeric data, integer data, character data, logical, complex, and date. Okay, so here are examples of the data classes. So let's start first with numeric. Okay, pag numeric, okay, it indicates a real number. Pag sinabi natin real, di ba may decimal yan. Kunyari, 3.4568. Kunyari. Okay? So this is a number, no? Ngayon ko na muna to. Okay, so where was I? 3.5678. This is a type of a numeric value. Okay, so in R, although i-discuss ko pa yan, sige, discuss ko na dito, no? We can create an object name that defines yung value natin, 3.567. So suppose I name it D1, okay? So I'm going to create this object called D1, and then I'm going to assign D1 to 35678. So you can type equal to, okay, D1 is equal to 3.5678. So let's run this. If I run this, Control Enter, what happened? Okay, so dito, lumabas D1, no? And the value is 3.5678. Okay? Now, it's not advisable to use the equation sign, the equal sign, kasi minsan sa isang code natin, sa isang code line, gagamitin natin yung equal to for other purposes. So yung equal dito, class, we're just assigning 3.5678 to an object called D1. No? So if you take a look at this under the, nung rinan natin to, if you take a look at this under the environment window, we created now an object called D1, and the value of D1 is 3.5678. Okay? But it's not good to use the equation sign. So let me show you another way to do this. Let's call it D2. And take a look at this. Huh? And let me call it pi. Let's see. All right, so D2 is an object called pi. If I run this, okay, error. So ibig sabihin, mali yung pi. Sandali, check ko lang, class. Kunyari, may mga functions kayong gusto. In the console, you can type either pi. Okay, kung so ito, no? Pi is, hindi naman siya yung number na pi, no? If I just type pi, ayun, okay? Sorry, wala palang parenthesis, ano? So that's 3.141593. Okay, babalik na ako sa example ko. Okay, D2 I'm calling pi. So dapat walang parenthesis. So if I press Control Enter, there. Andito na si D2, 3.141592, etc. So we know that pi is a non-repeating, non-terminating number, so walang katapusan yan. All right. So here I created another object D2, and I use this, no? Less than and then dash. That's what you call an assignment operator. Okay? Assignment operator siya. Ito. And there's a shortcut for this. Ang shortcut nito is either Alt plus minus, minus. And sa Mac, if I'm not mistaken, ano nga ba sa Mac? Alt minus ba? Kindly check please yung mga Mac users. Alt and then minus. Ay, hindi. Sorry. Command ba o options? Pakicheck kung command then minus or options minus. Can a Mac user please tell us how to generate this? Itong less than and then minus. Kasi mahaba siya kung shift tapos shift tapos yung less than sign tapos minus. Unlike kung kung alt minus lang, Mac users, command minus ba? Options minus pala, sorry. Yeah, options minus. Okay, so for those of you who are using Mac, options minus siya. So if I type D2, and then ano shortcut nito? Alt minus. Then type pi. Or for Mac users, option and then minus. Okay. And then if you run this, okay, di ba ano siya? Okay, nag-create siya ng D2. Ito kasi sabi natin assignment operator to it. So I'm creating this object called D2 and then I'm assigning the value pi to it. So if I print D2, ayan, D2. D2 and then Control Enter. All right, so this is the number. Okay, so we have looked at numeric values. Pag numeric kasi may decimal place. No? Okay, here is a pi. And then integer naman. Integers, as we know, are counting numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pero, if I for example, if I key in 2, walang decimal, does it automatically mean that it's an integer? The answer is no. Hindi siya integer. How do I make an object an integer? So let's create another data. Let's call it data 3 alt minus. Okay. And then I'm going to write 3L. Okay, take a look at that, class. Yung 3L na yan, it's also a number. However, it will be considered as an integer. Okay, so kindly print this D3. Okay. Right, may D3 na dito, no? Diba? So if we print D3, just type D3 here in the console. D3, Control Enter. All right. It's 3. Now, we attach the L here to indicate that this is an integer. Okay, let me show you that indeed D3 is an integer. So there's this function called class. Okay, class D1. So if we check the class of D1, Control Enter, okay, we know that this is numeric. Okay, if we check the class of D2, here, I'm writing it here in the console, class of D2, Control Enter, and it's also numeric. But if we type class of D3, data 3, Control Enter. All right, so notice now that it is an integer, while the other two, D1, D2, D3 are numeric. See, D3, the presence of L here indicate that it is an integer. Okay, we have a few more minutes. Let me just go through this. Character naman, class, sa R. Paano natin na-generate ng character? A character always, okay, always is enclosed in open and close quotations. Okay, so let's see, let me add, for example, my name is Bob. All right, take a look at this. You have true and you have my name is Bob. If I print this, okay, I get this true, my name is Bob. Now, what type of character is, let's give this a name so that, okay, let me call this D4, alt minus. Oops, alt minus, yan, D4, no? And it's a character enclosed in quotes. Let me call this D5, alt minus. All right, so both data, D4 and D5, are all enclosed in quotes. Almost time na. No? So let me run this. So I have now D4, okay, and it contains the value true, quote unquote. And then if I type here class D4, I'm going to ask R, what's the class of D4? Control Enter. It's character. No? Character siya. Si D5 then, class D5, we know that it's character. Sorry, hindi ko pa naran si D5. Control Enter si D5, may D5 na. And then, class D5, right, character siya. No? So si D4, yung true, si D5, my name is Bob, character. Okay, it's almost time, class. Let me just finish this, itong true. Okay, how about logical? So magkaiba, class, si logical kaysa kay character. Si logical, true or false yan. You don't put a quotations there. Pag linagyan mo siya ng quotations, magiging logical siya. Okay, so let's say D6. Let me call this D6. So I'm creating this object called D6. Okay, si D6, ang value niya true. Logical yan. No? And if I type class, ano yung class ni D6? Okay, di ba character siya? Hindi siya character. Logical siya. Okay, so you can also use letter T. Pero hindi pa pwedeng, subukan natin letter T. Okay, D6. And then class D6. Logical din siya. But if it's, let's say, small letter T, yan, okay, you can immediately see na hindi siya pa pwede white color. Diba? If I run this, okay, error siya. Hindi maintindihan ni R2, ano itong true na to? Had I placed quotations here, then magiging siya, diba? Character. Pwede yan. Okay? Pag wala, hindi maintindihan ni yan. Kasi walang quotes, hindi naman siya character. Okay? Alright. Or I can use just T. Pag T, pwede rin yun. Or TRUE. And then just this last, D7, just to finish this off. Complex. Alam niyo yung, kunyari, alam niyo yung complex number, 3 plus 2i, for example. Diba? Combination to ng real at saka imaginary number. That's what you call a complex number. So, by the way, if you want immediately the object to be printed, katulad nito, D7, in open and close quotations, parenthesis ko siya, control enter. Then, di ba, print niya kagad, di ba? Print niya kagad. Tapos, lagay akong semicolon dito, class D7. Class D7. Okay, run ko dito. Alright, 3 plus 2i, and then the class is complex. Alright. Lastly, yung date, kunyari 2024, 3, 05, and then ano ngayon? 11. Okay. Take a look at that. So let's call this D8 para may pangalan, alt minus, and then i-print natin to. Print natin, put it in quotations para ma-print siya automatically, and then kunin natin yung class D8. All right. So what am I doing here? Open and close parentheses. Yung object na D8, it will print D8, and then it will ask for the class. It will give us the class of that. Control enter. There. Okay. Asan na si D8? Okay. Tingnan nyo, no? Nag-numeric siya. No? Numeric siya. Ibig sabihin, hindi to kinonsider na date. Okay, so bakit? Bakit hindi siya kinonsider na date? And let me end in that. Ano yung reason kaya, class? Why was it not considered as a date? What do you think?
Sir, naka-equation form po.
Naka-equation form. Okay, D8. So anong dapat gawin ko? What do you mean by equation form? Tatanggalin ko yung 2023, ganyan? 05, 11, ganyan ba? So if I print this,
Sir, nare-recognize po kasi yung dash na minus po yata.
oo, yeah. Nagiging siya, function, function siya, operation 2023 minus 5 minus 11. So that's 2007. So this is not the way to write the date. Okay, so we'll just go back to this next meeting. Okay, I'll close this now. Stop recording.